Plaintiff Judith Vincent says her daughter started dating the defendant when she was 15, and about a year into the relationship, the defendant became verbally abusive. Judith claims she soon discovered that the defendant was using drugs and physically abusing her daughter. And Judith is suing him today because he also attacked Judith by repeatedly punching her in the head. Defendant Nicholas Wilson admits that he was drunk on the night in question, and although he acknowledges that he and Judith ended up wrestling on the ground, he insists he doesn't remember the details of the attack. Nicholas regrets the incident, but insists he's paid his dues by going to jail and anger management classes.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Tell me what happened.
Well, as every parent's dream, you want your daughter to have the best in life. Those worries, though, get a little harder when they become teenagers and start dating. At the age of 15, my daughter started conversing with Nicholas, and at that point in time, he seemed to be a very charming and decent young man, so I approved. 6 months to a year into the relationship, I started seeing my outgoing daughter turn into an introverted person, showing signs of verbal abuse. I was questioning her all the time. I was offering to get her help with this because she didn't seem to want to get out of the relationship, and to no avail. This went on and off for 2 years, the relationship, on, off, and when she was 17 years old, she showed up at my doorstep in tears and had on a long sweatshirt and said, "Mother, I come to show you what you told me would happen in this relationship if I didn't get out of it," because I did tell her early on that the verbal abuse would get physical. At that point in time, once again, I offered to go get her therapy, to get her so she could get the courage and the determination to get out of this relationship. Still no avail. The abuse continued to get worse because of Nicholas's drug issues, and he also introduced my daughter to drugs.
What type of drugs are you alleging?
Right now, the only one that I know for sure is marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
Nick has definite anger issues because in one of his fit of rages, he kicked off the mirror off the car that my daughter was driving that belonged to me.
Marijuana doesn't cause people to go into rages and to get all hyped up. It causes the opposite.
Well,
to
my
calm
daughter
down and relax, doesn't it?
Yeah. My kids,
Go ahead. But
Well,
go
my-
ahead, nonetheless.
My daughter told me that when he was high and drunk is
That's
when
when he
she
go.
got the worst.
Now the drunk part, there you're right. You get beer muscles.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
In March of 2009, she broke off with Nicholas and moved in with me.
Okay. Let me allow Nicholas to give some background on this case, and then I'll come back to you. Sir,
Okay.
Go ahead. Give me some
Your
background.
Honor, I would first like to just tell Judy I'm very sorry about what happened, about the whole situation.
Yeah.
I mean, that was definitely out of character for me, Your Honor.
How long ago was it?
I believe it was 10 months ago. I'm not exactly sure.
Nearly a year ago.
And I did my time in jail for that incident. And I've also signed up for anger management classes, and I have all the proof here. And also I've been taking a drug test and everything like that, been staying clear and clean.
Okay, good. Let me see what you have there
Yes,
that
sir.
indicates that. That's good news if that's the case. Let me ask, why do you think you were engaged in verbal and physical abuse against her? Was it alcohol and or drugs or something else?
Sometimes I felt like I was provoked, but
How?
I think the
Provoked
most
how?
just arguing back and forth mainly is what it was, sir. And the night of that incident, well, the time.
I'm allowed her to tell me about this
Yes, sir.
incident. You keep referring to it, but it's her lawsuit, so I'll let her tell me.
First
Go
of all,
ahead.
Your Honor, I want to go back. There was no jail time whatsoever for the abuse. That had to do with the kicking the mirror off the car. March of 2009, my daughter moved back in with me to get away from him, and I told her the stipulation was absolutely no Nick in the picture, period. In July of 2009, I went away for the 4th of July weekend, and when I returned
How long were you in jail?
for a trip.
Oh, for a trip. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, in street vernacular, that means you went to jail. You went to
I
prison.
went away for the 4th of July weekend.
All right. You went away
on
for
a
the
trip.
weekend. All right. Go ahead.
Upon my return to home, I knew immediately Nick was back in the picture because of her attitude. Did a complete flip. I just could tell. And she was spending 3-4 nights a week away from home, and that wasn't happening when she was without Nicholas. On July the 27th, 2009, he showed up at our home, drunk, high, both, whatever, with a scraped knee, and claimed that he had been robbed. So I said, okay, if you've been robbed, first of all, you're not supposed to be here. Secondly, if
Go to the police. Go ahead.
That's right. You need to go to the police if you've been robbed. Oh no, he freaked out. Well, of course he freaked out. He was on something. So I told my daughter, she said, well, let's just take him home. I said, okay. So when we got to where he lived or where he wanted to go, they were arguing in the parking lot. Well, as I went to get her, he got up in my face and cursed me and used words that I wouldn't even use on TV. And as I turned around to walk away to go get help, to call the police, that's when he jumped me from behind. My face hit the concrete first, along with my arm and my knee, and he got on the back of me, straddled me, and repeatedly hit me upside the head and on the back. I was very scared and defenseless at this point, being that I'm face down on the concrete, and with every blow, got to take the concrete even deeper. And if there wouldn't have been a neighbor watching all this and called the police, this animal would have killed me.
Defendant Nicholas Wilson is being sued by his ex-girlfriend's mother, who claims Nicholas viciously attacked her by repeatedly beating her in the head.
You all went to court, and was there a trial?
No, sir, there's been nothing but an
That's not
arrest
true.
because I had a police report right here.
That's not true.
This case hasn't been closed?
From what I understand, his mother paid his fines and got him out of this.
No, I didn't.
All right. In order to pay a fine, you must be found guilty of the charge.
He pled guilty of the
Okay, well,
charge.
then that is the result. That's what I was asking.
Yes, he did
All
plead.
right, he
not
has
the first
pled
time,
guilty.
Not the first time,
All
the
right.
second time.
Okay, young man, what do you want to tell me about this? Anything
First of all,
else?
sir, basically how that whole day started out, I got off work and I went home and a couple buddies were drinking next door and I started drinking and I ended up in the back seat in my car, passed out, woke up and I had scrapes along my knees and I thought I had maybe been jumped. Well, I went over to Tiffany's house. We've been together for 4 years and I figured I could go over there and we could assess the situation. I went over there and started talking to Tiffany and I decided that I wanted to go over to my buddy's house. So Tiffany and I got in my car and Judy followed me over to my buddy's house. We got over to my buddy's house, we got out of the car and I got there and decided I did not want to stay there. I wanted to go home for some odd reason. Well, I wanted the keys. Tiffany would not give me the keys because I had been drinking. And Tiffany's mom, Judy over here, had came over and she started pointing her finger in my face and telling me how horrible drunk I was. And it just went on and on and on. And the next thing I remember, we were rolling around on the ground and I got up and I had left, sir. And I went to a rest area and Tiffany had came and got me from the rest area and we stayed at her friend's house and she told me about everything that had happened, detail for detail. And then a couple days later, I had called my mother and asked her what I should do. And she just told me I should turn myself in. And so I did. And I already had a previous case with knocking off her mirror. And that's why I had to do the
So
2
you pled
weeks.
guilty to both?
Yes, sir.
You see what I was saying, ma'am? You blaming it on marijuana. He didn't say anything about smoking marijuana that day. Not that I'm a marijuana advocate. I'm an advocate. I'm an advocate for medical marijuana, I am. But my point is, that's alcohol. And I'm looking, sir, at your sentence or your, obviously it was part of your sentence, which is typically the case. And it doesn't speak to you being treated for alcohol, or it doesn't order you to go to AA.
I start next week, sir. That's what that...
Are you already in the process?
Yes, sir. That's what that drug test is for there.
Your Honor, that was part of the stipulation, if I may speak. That is
Okay.
part of the stipulation
Stand
of
on,
why he
stand
came
down.
to Florida.
Okay.
Is we've got a problem. We've had a problem for a long time. She is correct that Tiffany and him is not a healthy relationship.
Okay.
Tiffany as well. I witnessed many times. She had outbreaks, would jump on his back if he would walk away. It was just very childish, mischievous. It wasn't a healthy relationship on either side.
All right, I got that point.
Tiffany called me when this happened, and she told me that he did not go after her, but he was more stumbling drunk, fell on her, and they rolled on the ground, and it went. And she told me that she asked her mother several times to get in the car. I didn't pay any fines. He did go to court, and the judge gave him the 10 days for the prior offense. He's been at my house, drink-free, drug-free. He's been there for 8 months.
Yeah.
I myself I'm a recovering alcoholic, 8-year sobriety.
Good.
I know
The sign.
when it's time to attack this issue and take care of it. I hate that it happened, and I hate that you suffered anything from it.
Yeah.
But
And he's showing remorse. He's apologized, ma'am. He is in treatment.
Your Honor,
And
can I
he's-
show you these pictures, please?
Yes, ma'am. But, sir, you must pay for your crime as well. And not just by saying, I'm sorry. You received 10 days. Wow, this is terrible. And
Sorry isn't enough in my book because I have to continually live with the physical and the mental. I've got scars all over that I
believe
didn't
me,
have.
I'm not saying sorry is enough.
oh, I agree.
That's not what I'm getting to. I'm getting to the fact that one, he's getting treatment. I'm happy to hear that, but I also said he has to pay for his crimes.
Defendant Nicholas Wilson is being sued by his ex-girlfriend's mother, who claims Nicholas viciously attacked her by repeatedly beating her in the head.
Sir, I want to see a sign that you're sorry, other than just saying it. And a good sign that you're sorry is to pay this $5,000. Do you agree that you should pay $5,000? That'd be the best sign of being sorry. Guess you're not so sorry after all. $5,000 for the plaintiff.
Thank
Have
you,
a
Your
good
Honor.
day.
I feel much better. I don't think there's ever any closure when abuse is involved. I truthfully do not think he's remorseful. He beat on my daughter for 4 years. One time should have been enough if he was remorseful. She's very scared of him. She's very scared of him. She lives her life like I do, looking over her shoulder all the time.
Nothing will happen between me and her. I've changed for the better. I've moved to Florida and just stayed away from the whole situation.
I hope, that I know I'm sorry isn't enough, but that we're taking care of what we need to take care of.